Hey YouTube, this is Steelswarm.tl doing a update on the Steelswarm build. So if you're wanting to build it, you'll need 2 Cocker Stag. If you don't know what it does, tribute 2 Steelswarm monsters, pop the front row, or destroy all spells and traps on the back. 2 Mantis. Tribute, if this card's tributed by a Steelswarm monster, you can special summon 1 Steelswarm monster from your graveyard by the cost of 1,000 life points. Moth, 2 Moths. I was initially going to run 3, but started to clog up the deck, so I run 2. Pay tribute via Steelswarm, pay 1,000 life points, return 2 cards on the field to their owner's hand. 2 Stag. Now this is one of the main cards of the deck. It can be tributed via 1 Steelswarm monster, and if once it's tribute summoned, send 1 card on the field to the graveyard to gain 1,000 life points. You'll need 3 Caller. If this card is sent to graveyard by tribute summon, you can special summon 1 Steelswarm from your graveyard. So with Caller, when it's out in the field, send it to grave to summon Stag, send and special another Caller. There you've already got 2 monsters. 2 Dark Neospheres. I was initially running 1, except it's a fun card which can be brought out easily in this deck. It's a 4K beat stick and can come out if your opponent attacks one of your fiends, which this whole deck is more or less fiend. 3 Gatekeeper. Now, if you tribute summon a Steelswarm monster while this card's on the field, you get an additional summon this turn. 3 Scout. Now, I rarely ever draw this card. I usually use Foolish Burial, but I decided to take that out. Scout is basically a tree bomb, but for Steelswarms. 2 Cells. I was gonna run 3, but you only really use it if your field's been Darkhold, or at the start of the game you special it from your hand and then would summon. You would more or less special and tribute it for Moth, or tribute it for Cocker Stag, Stag, or I think it's called, yeah, that's all of them. 1 Dark Arm Dragon, since they're all dark attributes this base. Now, Black Salvo is the only machine I actually run in here. It brings back a level 4 or lower. It brings back a level 4 or lower dark monster from your grave, so it can be used for Xyzing. Sangan for search power to search for Cell or any other card that can be specialed quickly. And 1 Tragodia. Now this card I only really use for Xyzing or as a substitute for Gauze. Well, that's all the monsters now. 2 Double Summons. Now you need this since your deck constantly keeps on needing to summon different monsters for your. If you can't draw a Cell or get back your Scouts, you usually have to use this. Recurring Nightmare. Add 2 dark monsters with 0 defense to your hand. Well, all Steelswarms except for Gatekeeper have 0 defense, so recycling your hand, putting everything back in. 1 Heavy Storm to destroy the back row. Enemy Controller. Now with this card I needed one more card for my deck, except I was going to put in an Avarice, but I don't have one right now, so I'm using enemy controller. I can take control of one of my opponent's monsters, or just change its defense position if it attacks. 3. First step towards infestation. If your opponent uses Dark Hole or something like that, return one Steelswarm back to your hand and draw one card. So make sure Dark Hole in that and Mirror Force don't destroy your monsters. You get to reuse your Eurostags. 3. Infestation waves. If your opponent's got a bigger monster than your tribute summoned one, return it to your hand and destroy that card. 2 Dimension Fissures. Only for defense, really. If you can't get anything big out or you're in a sticky situation. And 2 Ultimate Offerings. Now this deck needs a lot of summoning power, so you need to keep in Ultimate Offerings if you're going to build Steelswarms, and you can if you want, but you must at least run one double summon or this deck won't work properly. And finally, Bottomless Trap Hole. I initially ran Trap Hole, except why not run Bottomless? Removes it instead of sending it to grave. Now with this deck build, I have won 2 tournaments with this, so I can honestly say it works. And with it, it's quite a good build.